Don't you always feel better after a good glass of wine with a girlfriend? Me too. That's what we're here for. To connect, to drink wine, to feel good. Welcome to the Happy Moms Wine Club. I'm your host, Jenny Angel. If you have little ones in the room with you today, you may want to put your earbuds in because from time to time, I will use swear words or drop a truth bomb about motherhood that you may not want little ears to hear. So grab your earbuds and put them in because today, I'll do both. 11 years ago, my daughter's a newborn, and I had smelled a friend's baby that smelled amazing, like lavender. So I buy some purple bottle of baby wash, and I am determined to have my daughter smell as scrumptious as that other lavender baby. A few days go by, and I notice my baby has red dots all over her skin. Face, neck, back, everything. And I'm thinking, sheesh, what's wrong with this kid? She must have gotten her dad's skin. Like a week goes by and I'm Googling rashes and bumps and freaking out that she's going to die of some rare disease. Mom fail. But you don't ever Google rashes. Not one, but 2 more weeks go by before I read the purple bottle of lavender body wash label and realize it is not body wash. It's some strong-ass bubble bath shit, and I've been putting it directly on my baby's skin when I bathe her for like a month. Had I read the directions first, I'd know that this stuff's supposed to be diluted in like a huge tub full of water, not slathered on her skin like lotion. No wonder my baby's covered in bumps. She smelled awesome, though. That was my bad. Mom fail number 6,382. The thing is, the bath product came with instructions. I just didn't read them. Kids don't come with instructions. So how are we supposed to know what we're doing? Like it or not, motherhood is all trial and error, and sometimes more error than we'd like to admit. You know the saying, practice makes perfect? You'd think after 5 or 6 years of practicing on multiple kids that we'd all be perfect, right? Yeah, not so much. Today I'm going to tell you about a large season in my relationship with one of my kids that was anything but perfect. Before I do, let's talk about how this applies to you. I know you know what your kid's body language looks like when their love tank is full, right? Think of their facial expression when they rip into a birthday present that they've been asking for. I bet that looks a little different for each of your kids. I know it does for mine. When Ty's love tank is full, his face lights up and he gasps like, and claps his hands and jumps up and down like Jack from Will and Grace. We're pretty sure he's straight, though. Maya's different. When her love tank is full, she sings and talks really fast and dances around the kitchen like Beyonce. Sometimes her booty pop makes her look like a grinding stripper, so, she's got options. How about when your kids' love tanks are empty, though? Can you picture that body language, too? I made the mistake when my daughter was young of speaking the wrong love language to her for a really long time. I'd do things that I thought were loving her all day long, and I couldn't figure out why it didn't seem to register with her at all. I thought I was loving on her, and she'd still be bitchy or attitudey, and for a long time, we were always pissed at each other. Have you had a season with one of your kids where they drove you nuts, and no matter what you tried, you just end up fighting? That's what happened to us. Don't worry, it's normal. Today I'm going to share with you something that saved my relationship with my daughter. I'm going to start by giving you the Cliff's Notes version of Gary Chapman's book, The 5 Love Languages. And as I give you examples of each love language, be thinking about yourself and the people that you love. Ask yourself, what is my primary love language? What makes me feel like my love tank is full, and what bounces off me like a rubber ball off a wall and doesn't seep in or make me feel loved at all? The people in your life will appreciate that you're taking the time to study this about yourself because this is valuable information for them to have, right? Nobody wants to go balls to the wall trying to love someone in a way that doesn't register for them at all. Later, I'll tell you a secret to my success with my daughter and the surprising thing I learned about my marriage from one of my biggest mom fails ever. So strap on, we're going in. So why did Gary Chapman write the book, The 5 Love Languages? What are the 5 love languages, and how does this apply to you? One of my favorite parts of the book is that Gary introduces the concept of love tanks that need to be filled. Just like our cars need gas to run, our love tanks need to be filled to keep our relationships and our lives happy and healthy. The problem that Gary ran into time and again over 20 years of counseling couples that were seriously ready to call it quits was that often both partners were giving all the love they had in a relationship, and yet they were left baffled because their partner's love tank was empty. The problem he discovered was that these couples had different love languages. What does that mean? Well, each of us has a particular way that we are most inclined to give and receive love. He calls that our love language. So what happens if your partner has a totally different love language than you? You could turn blue in the face trying to express your love and devotion, and not only could they not hear it, they might turn into one big resentment machine because their love tank has been running on empty for so long. That can't be good. Before we go any further, let me tell you what the 5 love languages are and give you examples of each. If something I mentioned has you feel loved and you can remember a time when you were on cloud 9 after receiving that, I invite you to write that example down. It's important to start collecting these clues of what type of love that you like to give and receive. The first love language is words of affirmation. Like when I say to my kids, "I'm so proud of you guys for taking such good care of Zoe, our new dog." It makes me feel like I'm getting a glimpse of what it's like to be a proud grandma because you guys are being so responsible to love her and walk her and feed her, and you've been awesome on poop duty. And then we laugh because I said poop and duty. Or when I say to Maya, "Your bathroom looks amazing. You're so good at organizing drawers. Thank you." Or I'll say to Tyler, "Ty, thanks for mowing the lawn. It looks awesome. I appreciate you taking care of the yard this summer. You're so good at seeing what needs to be done around the house and finding ways to help." Or when I sit them down and I say to both of them, "You know that you two are different, and you do not have to compete with each other for our love. Dad and I love you like crazy, and how we express love for you will look different sometimes because you two are different. But that does not mean we love one of you more or less. We love you both, and we really like you both too." So there's that. Those are all words of affirmation. The next love language is quality time. Quality time is spending time together where you're giving each other undivided attention and you're connecting through a shared experience. It's really anything you like to do together. For our family, it would be our nightly TV show snuggles, taking Zoe on walks together, laughing at the dinner table together about how I farted so loud I woke the dog out of a dead sleep, and she looked at her butt because the fart was so loud she wasn't sure if it was me or her. A distinction that Gary Chapman makes in this section that I really liked was that one of the ways people that have quality time as their first love language feel most connected and get their love tanks filled up is through quality conversations. The conversations that are deep and meaningful and uninterrupted, and where you learn something new about your partner and what they're thinking or feeling. Now, this totally fills up my love tank. That's why I love sharing life with you on this podcast. And I feel even more loved when you write a review on iTunes or wherever you listen from, and you tell me what you loved about each podcast. Or when you go on Facebook and write on the Happy Moms Wine Club page and tell me stories that make me laugh and feel connected to you too. Then I know that these conversations are making a difference, and I'm not just talking to myself here. I would add that for my kids, quality conversations are sometimes deep and meaningful, but more often a quality conversation is one where we just laugh out loud. Like when we're in the car, driving home from a pool day, and one of my kids randomly observes from the back seat, "My belly button looks like a butthole with a vagina in it." What? Yeah, they actually said that. The next love language is acts of service. For example, I feel so loved when I open the door to my bedroom to come out of my bathroom after getting ready in the morning, and I see that my husband has made our bed. Literally every morning it gives me this huge, deep sigh of relief. And this chorus of angels rejoices in my head like, "Ah!" Because it makes me so happy. I feel so loved. Then if I walk into our hallway where I can see our kids' rooms and their beds are made and their floors are clean too, then another chorus of angels sings in my head. And then if I walk downstairs and my kids have not only eaten breakfast, but fed the dog and are out walking her, oh my gosh, it's just amazing. you can tell that my love language is acts of service. It feels so good. Now, ladies, you may not have the same chorus of angels that sing in your head. It may just be that deep breath that happens because there's one less thing on your day's list that you have to do. I just hear angels sing. I don't know. But maybe that's not what you see when you wake up in the morning. Maybe you're not running into beds that are made or clean floors, and that's why you've never heard the chorus of angels that I hear. Don't worry. That's okay. That's actually really good news. Chances are you have a silent bitch bomb going off in your thoughts about one or more of those things that's just now coming to your awareness, and now would be a great time to write that down. Because remember from our earlier podcast, bitch bombs are gifts. They make you aware of a need that you haven't asked for help with yet. They're a warning light coming on for a tank that's running on empty. Now, once you know your need, you can ask for it and tell the people in your life what it would provide for you to have that floor picked up or that bed made. And once they know how much it would provide for you to have that peace of mind as you enter your day, they'll do those acts of service for you, and you can have that same deep breath, sigh of relief, or choir of angels, or whatever your thing is, singing in your head too. Okay, back to more acts of service. So far I've mentioned a lot of cleaning, but it doesn't have to be just that. That's just what makes me happy. I love clean space. So acts of service can be anything that you do for your partner or the people in your life that makes them feel loved. Driving the kids to practice, paying the bills, bringing your partner coffee or tea in the morning. I know I feel super loved if my husband comes to the pool with us in the summer and launches the kids so they can do flips in the water, so I don't even have to get in the water. Like, that, for me, is a great act of service. The best one, of course, is pouring a glass of wine at the end of the day, right? As I share these things, feel free to be thinking about and writing down examples from your own life. If you feel particularly loved by any of these areas, underline it or put a star by it. Those would be good to share with your loved ones later. Okay, the next love language is physical touch. A lot of men think that this is their primary love language, but it's just because their body is designed to need a sexual release. So anything leading up to that could move things in the right direction towards sex is good. But if their sexual needs are met and they're not likely to touch their partner or feel like it fills an emotional tank to receive their partner's touch, chances are physical touch is not their primary love language. If physical touch is your primary love language, it fills your love tank when your partner holds your hand or rubs your shoulders, touches the small of your back, or puts an arm around you, anything really. Of course, sex is high on the list of favorite pastimes for people with physical touch as a primary love language. Touch that fills your family members' love tanks will be specific, person to person though. So ask your people what works best for them or what doesn't work at all. That's also really valuable information, right? My kids love what we call tickleback. They sit next to me on the couch, lift their shirts to expose their back, and I gently run my nails on their skin. For them, it's bliss. It does absolutely nothing for my husband. It kind of makes his skin crawl. Good to know. The last love language is receiving gifts. If receiving gifts fills your love tank, this may be your primary love language. Often people give love in their primary love language. So if you have a friend that brings you a gift on your birthday, even though you've never given them anything, gifts is probably their love language. Okay, remember how I told you before that I had a huge mom fail in my relationship with my daughter? There was a large Marge season where we fought all the time. Getting her to put a coat on when she would go out the door to school was just a nightmare. I felt like I was trying really hard all the time, but all I was running into was attitude. All the time. Guess what I finally realized when I read this book that I didn't know before? I realized my daughter's love tank was on empty, and it was my fault. I was not speaking my daughter's love language. I was only speaking mine. Acts of service is my love language, not hers. I was exhausting myself, speaking a language that she did not understand. I may as well have been speaking Mandarin Chinese. She was not picking up what I was laying down. I needed to become fluent in a new language if I was going to reach my daughter. Now, before I go further and I tell you what I learned that completely altered how my daughter and I connected, let me ask, who in your life do you keep butting heads with? Is it possible that your love languages are opposite? Maybe you're trying your best, but it never seems to seep in. They are not picking up what you're laying down. Is it possible that you're speaking your love language instead of theirs? When I first realized that that's what I was doing with my daughter Maya, I felt sick to my stomach. I felt like I'd neglected to make her feel loved for so long that she was like this withered up plant that needed water so badly that the dirt in her pot was cracked and hard. Talk about a mom fail. What I know now that I didn't know then is that my daughter's love language is gifts. In that season of life, that realization crushed me. Money was so tight, I thought, how am I going to speak her love language when I can't afford to buy her gifts? What I'm about to share with you is simple but profound and will help you tremendously if you apply it to the person in your life that has a different love language than you. Here's a secret that I did not know before. A gift doesn't have to be expensive and wrapped with a bow and shiny wrapping paper every time you want to speak the love language of a gifts person. What makes my daughter feel loved is that I thought of her and that I know her well enough to get her something that she likes. For example, I can be at Costco and I can get raspberries. And when I get home from shopping, I can put them on the counter where she'll see them instead of putting them in the fridge right away. And I can go to her room and say, I got you something while I was out, or I have a surprise for you. Then when she comes downstairs and sees something that she loves on the counter, she'll clap her hands together and bounce up and down a bit and say thank you and dive into the carton of raspberries. It seems like a little thing, but it's not. I've spoken her love language in a way that fills her tank way more than if I'd just stuck the raspberries in the fridge. The best part? I would have bought the raspberries that day anyway. I didn't have to go out of my budget to buy her some extravagant gift every chance I get. All I have to do is be intentional about letting her know I got her something that she loves because I know her and I love her. You want to know what's even better? The people in your life that have gifts as a love language can even receive love by knowing what you didn't buy for them. I know that sounds a little weird, so here's how it works. Picture this. I'm shopping for back-to-school supplies with my daughter who's going into 6th grade. If you have a child with the love language of gifts, by the way, back-to-school shopping is an enormous opportunity to fill their love tank. It's 1,000 little things that you'd have to buy for school anyway, but to them, each package of highlighters and erasers is similar to what receiving a car would be like for you. At least that's how it is for my daughter. So we're shopping for the perfect zipper binder with a shoulder strap that, of course, is the perfect color. Not red, not plain blue, not gray with highlighter yellow, but teal. And not teal with busy squirrels or ugly patterns. The super cute teal that makes her heart sing. We went to not 2 stores, not 3 stores in search of this elusive unicorn of a binder, but 6 stores and struck out at each one. Now I know what you're thinking. Amazon Prime didn't even have what she wanted. So I shopped without her while she was at a friend's cabin. And when she got back, I said, while you were gone this week, I went to 4 more stores. And each time I found a binder that would work. And I got in line to buy it, but then I put it back because I knew it wasn't the one that was going to make your heart sing. So I just didn't buy it at all. And she hugged me and said, thank you for knowing me so well. Can you believe it? She felt just as loved by me not buying those ugly binders as she did by me eventually buying the one that finally made her dance around the kitchen like Beyonce. Okay, that's all of them. By now, just by hearing what the 5 love languages are, some of you are having major ahas and light bulbs going off. You're like, oh my goodness, my husband's love language isn't acts of service. No wonder he never reacts correctly after I clean the house and do all the laundry and do acts of service all day. I can see it on his face. I'm like, ta-da! And he's like, so? Or maybe you're thinking, that's why I thought my mother-in-law hated me. I'm a physical touch person, and the only way she expresses love is through acts of service. So when she came to my house and started cleaning, she wasn't being a bitch. She was trying to love me. Oh. Or maybe you're thinking quality time is what fills my love tank. And when he's at work 60 hours a week, I feel depleted. He says he's doing it all for me and I should be grateful, but I am running on empty. Or maybe you're thinking, I do so many things for those kids, but we keep fighting. Maybe we have different love languages. I am giving, 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 but their tanks aren't filling up. Huh. I never thought of that before. Or maybe you're thinking, this is awesome. Now I can love my partner or my kids in a way that totally fills their love tanks. What will that be like? Whatever aha you're having or wherever you're at in this conversation so far is fine. To finish up, I want to share with you how realizing I was speaking my love language to Maya instead of speaking her love language impacted my marriage. Now, have you heard the saying, how you do something is how you do everything? I've found that to be true in life. So when I realized that I was leaving my daughter depleted by not speaking love in a way that she could hear, I asked myself, who else in life that I promised to love is going around with their love tank on empty? The answer, you can guess, was my husband. Not everywhere in life, just in the bedroom. Now, mom fails are one thing. Sex fails? That's a whole other story that I need another glass of wine for. So let's get another glass of wine and talk about that next week. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button for this podcast so we can connect with each other weekly. Then go and leave a review and tell me what you loved about this podcast, or go to the Happy Moms Wine Club Facebook page and post some of your funny mom fails for me so I'm not all alone in this really awkward, I'll tell you all my embarrassing stories, but you don't tell me any of yours spot in our relationship. Finally, if you find value in listening to the Happy Moms Wine Club podcast, will you do me a favor and post a link to this podcast on your Facebook page to share with your friends? I'd like to connect with and make a difference for as many moms as possible, and I need your help to do that. Thank you. Oh, and here, have some more wine. If you want to join our actual Happy Moms Wine Club and learn about how to get amazing wine delivered to your doorstep for free, go to happymomswineclub.com now. See you next week.